I kind of liked that it was a hard game. You were having to play defense for uh, long possessions. There weren't a lot of possessions, and they were throwing it to the post and being physical, and they have some bodies physically, and we kind of had to methodically, be smart offensively to pull away. I thought defensively, we were in good position, and um, we had a little game pressure, and that's good first game of the year as the rest of the schedule comes at us.
You've talked about what the additions of Blake and Paul mean, and then it's basically Blake and Paul that really
Yeah.
help drive this thing right out of the gate.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, there's a great example of how they've added. One of the things I singled out Cormac and Prentice after the game. I thought they guarded and moved the ball and found people, even though they didn't score, they weren't as involved in the offense, and they just played right. And it's a sign of some mature guys. I'm really proud of them because Blake and Paul were the guys that were kind of going. So let's ride them, and certainly Dane. Dane has a different presence about him. He was physically guarding people. One of the things we attacked with him was use your jump shot to set everything else up offensively. Don't just, if you got a great look, take it. And I think he's been more of a shooter first, and then when they close out, drive it. But again, Cormac and Prentice, the secure, the security of that's okay. We got to find a way to win, and this is working for us. There's great maturity there. I've got to keep it that way.
I don't want to put Dane in this category yet, but when you bring in guys like Paul and Blake, he kind of moves down the whatever to the point where he almost looks like he's playing like Steve Astoria, where you look at the final stat sheet and it's quietly he's got 18 points. He does a little this, he does a little that, kind of like what Steve did.
Great comparison because that's who I kind of said my goal was to get him playing like that. And I think today, and we've been trending this way, he had Steve's tempo. He didn't do anything erratic. He played very smart, certainly very confidently, was smart defensively. I just loved his presence overall. But that's a great comparison, and nobody was more dependable and rock solid every day than Stevie V.
Does Wesley, he seems to bring up the notion of starting. Are you going to have to fight that temptation, or can you get through to him on that and have him recognize his role?
I think he and I have talked a lot about that, and that's not out of the question down the road. I actually thought about it at halftime. But the one thing he does know, and I think what's interesting is those 7 know they're in the rotation. And so just play right. Now, those old guys get that because they've kind of been. For Blake, it's kind of new, and I told him this morning at breakfast, I said, Blake, don't force anything. Let it come to you. You're going to play a lot today. Don't worry about that. And but I think if that's the way we got to go some days, we'll definitely. Again, you know what, for Blake, Cormac, Trey, Dane, and Prentice, they are great big brothers to him. They have said, we need you. When he's making plays, those old guys are like, yeah, but, Prentice, especially Prentice, he's not threatened. He's secure. I'm really proud of that, to know we need him and bring him along. And I think they've done the same with Paul. They're like, Prentice turns to me early in the game. Let's run something to get Paul a touch. Yes.
Speaking of that, how nice is it that you can dump it down low to him? You know something good's either going to happen inside or outside.
Yeah, he is. Our best days have been, my best years, even at Delaware, have been when you can throw it to a low post guy, and they got to respect it, and then you have some spacing around it. And I thought for Paul tonight there was a little bit of an adjustment to physical bodies. And then he kind of adapted. And I think that's going to be something we got to keep talking to them. Like their bodies, now there's different bodies coming at you on a nightly basis. And but he plays with a great tempo. And And our guys love throwing it in there to them.
What didn't you like about the day?
Yeah, I still think we are doing a really good job. I really like where we are as far as our positioning on the first shot defensively. We just got to see if we can get that first miss. We're kind of back to that. I think that's always going to be something we're going to have to keep an eye on. But our Cormac Ryan and Dane Goodwin and Trey, those guys can all rebound. They can help us rebound. But I just thought our positioning and our attention to detail against here comes a down screen and a cross screen and a post feed. It was a great defensive drill, and there weren't a lot of possessions. So your offensive possessions have to be valued, because you're going to go play D 25 seconds again. We've played against Virginia's like that a little bit. Like, oh God, if you shoot it quick, you're back on D. I think our alertness, our talk, we're keeping it out of the middle. I think our guards have done a better job in practice and through, not getting beat off the dribble as easy, like having some pride of just staying in front of a guy. And, so we'll keep seeing if we can build on that.
Mike, you mentioned Prentice and Cormac. Is there any other stat that we don't see in the stat sheet that you're monitoring that stood out tonight?
I think it's a non-stat. It's leadership and poise. I come to timeouts and Cormac's. I got number 4. I got him. I got him. We put him. The guy who made the threes. We put Cormac on at halftime, and he's all over. And that's my mission. I might have got a shot. That's my mission. That's pretty mature, man. And Prentice Hub. I come out of one of the timeouts. We're running a set. Blake's in there, and these are still a little new to him. He grabs the board, the magnet board. He goes, Blake, here's where you are. And I told Tone and Slow, I said, look at our guy. And Tone goes, I've never seen anybody do that. I go, this guy kind of knows our system, And so, again, I'm just really, really pleased with their leadership. This is what my team needs. Got to stay that way.
Mike, you referenced not a lot of scoring production from Nate and Cormac and Prentice. I think 8 combined points, but you guys win the game going away. What does that maybe say about how this roster is put together for the long haul?
Yeah, I think we could rely on our defense a little bit more. We've improved there. It's been an unbelievable point of emphasis, through the summer and through the fall. I told them, I said, God, that's 50, they're in the 50s. Let's see, can we keep people in the 50s and field goal percentage defense, low. I think we can rely on that better. We have been on it hard. They've been amazingly receptive. They know they're good offensively. And then you add Atkinson and Wesley. I mean, we got those dudes can play. Now we just move it, share it, take a good one. But on that other end, can we make it harder defensively for people? And I think we're making progress there.
Blake made a comment about how at practice he overdoes it, and so y'all were telling him just be you, be calm. He comes in and banks the 3. What was it like to see that product from him when he's kind of hesitant about not being able to start and having to come up?
Well, I'm glad he verbalized that, because my thing with him is just don't force anything. You're going to play. You don't have to I better get it in because I'm going to come out or you're going to play a lot. You're just coming off the bench, but you're going to play a lot. I thought that he had open jump shots and just took them. Our great passers found him. And then in the second half, he became a little more of a slicing, slashing guy. And we went to him the last possession of the half. I wanted him to have the ball at a ball screen, and he got in there. He probably should have shot it. He dumped it and it got turned over. But, Prentice and Cormac especially, you got it, Blake. Find us over here. He finds people. So he has had a great frame of mind, and I think what he'll learn that, starting isn't as important as finishing, and I bet he finishes a lot, but he also could start.
When you're the last ACC team to play,
That was weird.
and you're sitting around, and you see what happens with Furman,
no,
and
no,
Louisville,
no, no, no,
and
no.
Miami and Georgia Tech.
No.
Sitting in, are you just kind of like?
No, I'm
I
like-
have no idea. I mean, I think I know what's going to happen today, but when you're walking out, you're like, Is today going to be a weird one? or-
I'll tell you how superstitious and wacky I am. And a Cal State team threw one in from 70 feet at Arizona State. I'm like, oh, here we go. Here we go. The karma. We find crazy stuff to worry about. And then I'm looking at them in warm-ups, and they got some bodies. There's an example of no team's ever going to be young again. Like, they get 10 transfers, everybody out there is 22 years old. For Blake Wesley to play as well as he did as an 18-year-old, it's kind of hard. I was telling Coach Solomon, like, you play an 18-year-old, you used to have a rotation, well, they're going to be young this year. And so you're young. Everybody's just old again. And those guys were all 21 and 22 years old and built like it. And so, yeah, I found everything in the world to, worry myself. I'm not going to think about High Point till we beat Virginia in football tonight. Then I'll think about it. And this is a neat group to work with. They're really hungry. They know what they're chasing. I think they like playing together. They play the right way. Our job as coaches is to make sure they continue to play the right way, especially offensively, sharing that ball. Thank you, gang. See you Tuesday.